Hey guys, here's Natalia, the founder of Upskill Me, and this is another video for non-native speakers who want to raise their bar for themselves. Whenever I travel, people find it hard to identify where I come from, and judging by the looks, people normally can guess that I come from Eastern Europe or Russia. But if I pick up the phone and I speak to anyone in the English language for the first time, people hardly can ever guess where I come from.
Where are you from?
And I help non-native speakers, primarily those people whose first English language is Russian. I help them reach the same native-like level, even if they don't live in the English-speaking country. In this video, I would like to show you examples of other non-native speakers who are not bilingual since birth, but the way they speak English, you would never be able to guess that they were not born in an English-speaking country. And what is funny is when native speakers talk to me, and whenever I travel to an English-speaking country, they would ask me, which private school did you go to so that you developed such a weird accent? So they cannot place my accent geographically, but they cannot really tell that I grew up in a non-English speaking environment. I suggest we look at the examples of non-native speakers who made it, who speak English as if they were bilingual since birth, but they were not. They started learning English later in life. The person who inspired me to do this video for you is a community manager in one of the co-working spaces in Tallinn, Estonia. I visited the new venue a week ago, and this man showed me around. He speaks amazing English. He used to be in the military during the Soviet Union times, and his English is, you can tell of course that it's not his first language. He speaks with an accent, he has an accent, but it's not a heavy accent, and his English is just perfect, very good. His first language is Russian because he grew up in the Soviet Union, and of course he speaks Estonian. And then he told me that he started learning English only when he turned 40.
Really? Yes.
When he turned 40 and the Soviet Union collapsed, he could travel. And before that, there was no opportunity to travel at all, so he never needed English. And when the time came and he was able to travel, he started learning English. And to me, that was a great example of how a Russian speaker could achieve such heights after 40, because if you speak to anyone who lives in Russia today and who is even in their 30s, in their late 30s or in their late 40s, they will tell you that it's almost impossible. They've been learning English all their life, they've never been able to achieve any great result, and it's just a pointless effort to learn a language. A lot of Russians unfortunately share this mindset, and in this video I want to say, and I want to show you that it doesn't have to be this way. So thanks to this man who is now in his 60s and who is now running this co-working space, we're going to see a bunch of examples of non-native speakers who made it, and I'm sure you can make it as well. We'll see examples of people whose first language is French, Hebrew, Spanish, Portuguese, Russian, and Icelandic. And all of them raise the bar for themselves really high. And look, I get it. A lot of people will tell me, but why do you need to improve your language to that level if people understand you? And of course, look, if you don't need it, then probably you should stop watching this video. If you don't need it, then it's fine. However, there are a lot of people who need it as much as I do. And when I started doing what I do, I started doing it for myself, and then I discovered there are enough people who need the same thing. The best startups today are run by non-native speakers. Most people in the managerial positions and the senior management positions today are non-native speakers. And every day they sell, present, and negotiate in the English language. They need to communicate with their foreign colleagues. They need to manage international teams. They need to pitch their projects to investors. They need to win international clients. They need to do their job to bring the company to a different level or to enter different markets. And very often basic communication skills and basic language skills are not enough, especially if you cannot hear what people tell you, if you can only understand half of what people tell you, or when you cannot articulate your ideas well enough so that it motivates people, so that people want to follow you, and so that people can trust you. This is what we're talking about here. And if you ask me what's the strategy to get to that level, I would say strategy number one is having a lot of good examples around you. And this is why I'm showing you these examples of these people, and this is the reason why I'm doing this video for you. Because when I was learning to do that, there were practically no examples around me, and I was looking for them because I believe that there must be someone in this world who did it, and I could learn from them. And today, the more I travel, for example, right now I'm in Tbilisi in Georgia, and a week ago I was in Tallinn, and just recently I was in the US and in other Western European countries. The more I travel, the more I meet people whose language skills, whose English skills are fascinating. You would never be able to tell that they grew up in a non-English speaking environment, and they're not bilingual since birth. And if I ask them, how did you do that?
How did you do that?
Did you have a private tutor? Did you do some special magical language courses? They would say, no, it's not even a question, how do you do it? They just need to do it. They understand that they need to communicate at that level, and they simply do. And because I communicate at that level myself today, I absolutely see no obstacle for anyone whose first language is Russian, especially. I absolutely see no obstacles for other people to achieve the same. Normally, when people think about improving their language skills, their English skills, especially if they're already intermediate or a little bit above intermediate, they would think this way: all right, probably I need to live in an English-speaking country. That's a good strategy. Strategy number one that 99% of people would think of first. I need to live in England for 2 months, or I need to go abroad and take English classes in an English-speaking country. What happens in reality is, and most of my clients are Russian-speaking people who live in the English-speaking countries. They have this environment right there, and unfortunately, it's not enough. The facts tell me that it's not enough to be surrounded by that environment because people don't have a strategy. People don't know what to do in that environment. I used to live in Germany. I spent 5 years of my life in Germany. It was a perfect opportunity to learn German, and I do speak fluent German thanks to the fact that I did my master's in Germany and I had to work in Germany and I had a lot of German friends. But trust me, I was surrounded by people who had immigrated to Germany 15 years before I came there, 20 years before I arrived. And they would speak really bad German. They would speak German with a heavy accent. They would not know how to communicate. They would not know how to go through a job interview. They would not know how to pick up a phone and negotiate a great apartment for themselves to rent. And I saw enough examples when people would go to an English-speaking country or to the country where they want to learn the language and that language is spoken there, and they would not know what to do. They would still have an accent, they would still have problems with communication skills, and they would still communicate only with people who speak their first language and not really advance their English skills. So there are enough examples. Then the second strategy would be, of course, to hire a private tutor. That's a good idea. Individual classes do work. The only concern I have is that probably most people cannot afford to have a private tutor twice a week or 3 times a week for the rest of their life. Come on, I mean, how long can you do that?
For how long?
Of course, you can work with a person individually. You can achieve great results, but then what do you do after that? A lot of people that I know, and a lot of people tell me that they used to do that and then they stopped and then they saw zero progress. They got stuck here, and if you don't use the language and if you don't have individual classes anymore, and if you don't know how to advance your skills even further, your level either stays the same or gradually it goes down, because now you don't have those intensive individual sessions where you have to practice and where you have to challenge your brain. So what's the strategy then? The third strategy would be the strategy that I use myself, and I call it self-improvement algorithms. So as a non-native speaker, I constantly raise the bar for myself, and I don't want to be dependent on a teacher. I don't want to be dependent on a secret methodology. I don't want to be dependent on some sort of book that I need to buy and only this book can help me move that far. I'm speaking about strategies that every person can use for themselves. And when you're already intermediate, when you're already upper intermediate, and you understand that this level is not enough, even if everybody tells you, look, but your English is great. And I'm like, okay, but great according to which standard? And probably people whose English skills are not so great will tell me that my English is great, that's cool, but when you're around native speakers, you understand that it's not enough. You understand that if you really want to perform at a different level internationally, if you work for a global company, if you want to bring your own company to a different level, that great would not be enough. And if you understand English videos, if you can watch YouTube in English, there are so many opportunities today to advance your English skills independently. Of course, you could use high-quality professional feedback, but every person can work independently. And we're going to look at examples of people who did it for themselves. And this is the philosophy that is behind all my courses and all the programs I'm offering. Everybody can learn to work independently. And as long as you have internet, as long as you have access to videos in English, podcasts in English, TV shows, radio shows, texts, books, whatever, if you know what you're doing, you can practice and move to a completely different level. Because even if you're around native speakers, unfortunately, most people don't know what to do. It's like, you know, I compare it to the gym. I know a lot of people who buy the gym membership, they get a personal trainer, they have 20 sessions with a personal trainer, they work really hard because the trainer is watching them and the trainer writes a program for them, and the trainer will tell them what to do every day or every workout, every training session. And then after they have used 20 individual classes with a trainer, people would go to the gym, look around at all this equipment, and they would not know what to do without the trainer. They are so used to the fact that someone will write the program for them, someone will tell them what to do, someone will tell them how many sets of this exercise they need to do and what follows after that exercise, that they feel lonely and absolutely frustrated on their own when they enter the gym. Okay, what do I do now? What do I do today? What's my purpose here today? All the equipment is available. It can be a very fancy gym. You have a gold membership and you walk in and you don't know what to do. And you're not making any progress because you don't know what to do, because you don't have a strategy, because that was a trainer's job to make sure that you can work without him or without her, without a trainer. And that's my philosophy. If you're working individually with a trainer, it's their job to make sure that you can work without them, so that they teach you to work on your own. So let's look at the examples of the people I'm speaking about. Maybe you know some of them, maybe you don't know some of them, but I want you to pay attention to the way they speak, to the way they articulate their thoughts, and share with me in the comments what you have learned and what was new to you, what surprised you in these videos. Also share with me if you actually knew that their first language is different from English. And if you know more people who speak English at the same level, please also share in the comments, because I'm always looking for fascinating examples.
I enjoy reading to my kids, and they like learning too. It's a good relationship because Milan, at least, is very eager to learn. He loves letters, he loves numbers.
Wow, that was crazy. That was like 1 week doing rehearsals, because actually there was like the hologram, so I couldn't see the Madonnas on the stage. So I had to learn every step so I could dance with her.
To definitely come to America and perform and record. That's what we wanted to do. We didn't quite expect it to happen, you know, so fast, since it's only 2 years since we, you know, were just recording for the first time in Iceland.
Today is my last day. I woke up probably 15 minutes ago, so I'm still swollen. Maybe it's not a good idea to film right now. Who knows? However, I thought this is going to be authentic and raw, and you're going to see exactly the products that I take with me when I...
One of my clients is in a really tough negotiation. And just so I can give a better lay of the land in terms of my client base.
I do like dancing, and it's important to me because it's I'm dancing. You know, when I was a kid in the playgrounds, I was not playing football or you know, with the other boys.
The legend, the fact that it's a real mysterious character. I wanted to know myself, like what's behind that guy, what's behind the brand, even, you know, how did he create it, of course, but
that's what actually I loved the most about the screenplay, beyond the legend and all that, is to tell a story today.
I hope that more and more of you see now that the song is not about me showing you the only way to write a song, but it's more of a way to inspire the crazy ideas.
Ok, da, det startet ganske fint med Eurovision og sånn, men så har det liksom vært, det begynte med at jeg kom helt i skyene av å kysse en sel da, I Tyskland.
Last night,
Did you really?
We just got here last night, we went straight to Times Square and it was just surreal.
You looked at that.
You cannot take it in. It's like me. I'm from Israel, from this small city, and all of a sudden I'm all over Times Square. It's insane.
My favorite place to be. I love it. It's where I can truly be myself, and I try to come in as often as possible. And for me, that means daily. And in my ideal world, would mean like 15 hours a day, and I could sleep all afternoon and work into the wee hours. But
look, one more thing. Having a slight accent is not a problem, and it doesn't sabotage your efforts at all. It doesn't prevent people from understanding you, and it doesn't prevent you from understanding everything that people say and connecting with people on a deeper level. All these people have a slight accent, just like I do myself, but they all speak correct English, they structure their sentences the English way, they don't drop their articles, they react timely, they switch to operating in a different cognitive system and apply a different way of thinking when they speak English. By the way, when people drop articles and don't know where they belong in their speech, it doesn't sound fluent, but rather quite abrupt, even if their pronunciation is perfect. So pay attention to your articles. You're welcome to my blog, where I explain the way self-correcting algorithms work for non-native speakers, and to my Instagram, where I publish mini practical tasks so that you can feel the taste of your own results today. All my courses are available online. See the next slides and the description box for more information. Thank you for watching, and let's be in touch.